Hello, these earphones were sent to me somewhere at the beginning of March, but unfortunately they struck somewhere in the mail and delivery took, I don't know, more than 100 days. But luckily it's still actual model and it's still really interesting in ear monitors. So it's Hidizs model MS1 Rainbow. You're probably already aware about two MS earphones released by Hidizs, MS1 and MS4. It's Mermaid series of in-ear monitors. MS1 was pretty successful, but then Hidizs decided to release a more affordable model, and they created nice plastic transparent shells for their MS1. And now the price is about $65 and you can get it in a variety of nice looking colors. Actually name Rainbow hints about that. And let's have a closer look. As you can see, package is simple, white cardboard, all colors are printed on the side, and there are different versions, so there is single color version and dual color, so with transparent shells. Looks pretty attractive, nice package. Inside we'll get earphones themselves and box with a set of accessories. Let's get everything out. So, are there technical specifications? No. And here they are on the box. Inside 10mm dynamic driver and actually 20 Hz, 40 kHz, so I don't see impedance and sensitivity here, so I'll need to Google that. Why they didn't print it in the manual, I don't know. Anyway, you will have earphones, two set of tips, three a bit different in shape and in spout diameter, storage pouch, and pretty attractive cable. Actually it's with top control and it's probably the best cable with top control available in the inexpensive earphones. In terms of design, it's classical shape, nicely done, some glitter inside, looks pretty attractive. Of course you can select not red color, you can see the internals, good big metal spout, so sound isolation is even a bit above average. Not by much, but anyway. There is a lip for holding the tips, protective grill, all that tiny details that shows that they care about the quality. Shape is nice and ergonomic, so they fitting nicely into ears. No issues with comfort with wearing even during the long time, at least in my ears. It's classical shape used by many manufacturers. And stock cable with velcro for winding. Here used almost classical 2-pin connectors, so which one is left, not that important. No recessed pins, no recessed sockets, just straight, simple, direct feed. Connector quality is pretty nice, holding pretty well. Stock cable is also good, looks attractive, on pretty soft. Microphone quality is average, but it's enough to talk even on the noisy street. You just need to move it closer to your mouth. Cable is soft, almost not getting hard when it's cold, almost zero microphonics. thanks to these ear hooks that suppress microphonic effect, and here it goes braided down to the regular 3.5mm for pole jack. It's a bit bigger than traditional, but anyway, looks good. So in terms of exterior, design, build quality, fit, comfort, and all other stuff like that, earphones looks nice. And of course about the sound, I gave them about 48 hours of burn-in, no big changes in sound, so don't bother burning them in. Just spend some time trying both versions of tips and finding the proper size to isolate your ear channel most of all. As usual, I prefer this a bit more extended tips, longer version, because wider one didn't fit well. But of course it's a matter of subjective build of your ear channel. And as an example, as a player for providing examples, of course I will use Hidizs AP80 Pro, recently released models that I also reviewed. I think they are created to be used together because player is a bit on the brighter side, while earphones are tuned as a V-shaped in-ear monitors in terms of frequency response, with a bit of added warmth, but treble accent to compensate that warmth, and basically it gives the typical mass market signature that many people will enjoy. So lows are accented, not the biggest accent, but neither it's small, so it's noticeable accent on the low frequencies, giving pretty big body, giving a bit of additional weight. Resolution is slightly above average, so not the most resolving, but they're not tuned to be super resolving on the low frequencies. They're not trying to be dry or super analytical. They're leaning towards more weight, more impact, and so on. Depth is pretty good, and this accented low frequencies gives the body to the whole melody, to the whole music, so it's kind of additional solid foundation for that whole tune. Texturing is nice, and it's sounding pretty well with both acoustic or real instruments and with synthesized low frequencies, but of course it's not super fast, and so it won't represent every single tiny nuance of something like acoustic double bass, but at the same time such instruments sounding still pretty realistic and enjoyable. Of course, if you don't want the critical, analytical, audiophilic listening, so it's the earphones to enjoy, not to analyze music. So as an example, for the low frequencies I got Daft Punk, The Game of Love, and such earphones are suiting such tunes in a pretty good way, because they have accented low frequencies to pay the respect for the bass line here, and of course accented upper, mids and treble gives you this airiness and spaciousness that is required to enjoy the three-dimensional stuff that Daft Punk put in this track. Mids, as it pretty commonly happen for the V-shaped earphones, can be divided into two parts. Lower part of mids is recessed, so they lacking a bit of male vocal body, and at the same time, because this recessed mids sometimes even play a good role, because if mids were not so recessed, the warmer coloration of low frequencies would give you know, extra weight and sound muddy. And here they are a bit recessed, and because of that they're not dominating and stay somewhere in place. But of course it's also not the model for those who like clinical, natural, analytical representation of the mids. At the same time, they are pretty forgiving for the quality of record. They highlighting macro dynamics a little bit, adding a bit of emotion, so even poorly recorded tracks are a bit colored and like they give kind of makeup to the poorly recorded tracks. And the upper mids are accented, and it gives a bit of additional clarity, a bit of additional wow effect for the female vocal, a bit of crispness, a bit of aggression for some electric guitars sometimes, and so on. So as usual, as it common happens in the V-shaped in-ear monitors. Imaginary stage is about average in width and a bit below average in depth, maybe also average, so not the most spacious, but also not the most congested, so somewhere in between. Probably for this price range it's okay. Anyway, no big difference in staging in this price range. And as an example for the mid frequencies, I got nostalgic track. It's Europe, the final countdown. Great hit from the times when haircuts were totally unisex, both for male and female. So everyone used same haircut and same hairdressers. You know this tune, you know why it's here. This earphones gives a nice sense of rumble in the introduction part, and in the middle part this earphones deals well with this synthesizer riff pretty okay. It's lacking a bit of aggression for the bass guitar, but I think it's not a big issue, but you can't get everything probably in this price range, so getting something better will spoil something other. And treble is accented pretty noticeably, and it's done on purpose to balance the low frequencies. Maybe it's not the most sharp in terms of treble, because it's still the dynamic driver and treble extension is about average. But anyway, it has accent, for my ears not too big, but for treble sensitive people just beware. So resolution is normal, attacks and decays are a bit slower than they should be, but also no big issues, so treble sounding pretty clean and prominent and so on. Of course, no rich layering, no super audiophilic overtone saturation, but we are speaking about the $65 mass market earphones, so I think it's really okay results for them, and they really managed to balance the low frequencies accent pretty well, so in general earphones sounding nicely balanced. And as an example, I got pretty famous track, often used as a treble example, Both Money and Time by Pink Floyd from Dark Side of the Moon are well known for their treble rich and good recorded introduction. Both Alarm Clock at the Beginning of Time and Coins Dropping on Money are good recorded, well recorded, and requires nice treble, so maybe it's not perfect with these earphones, but sounding really nice. And when bass line starts, you will forget about the not absolutely perfect treble and just will enjoy the bass line, because warmth of these earphones is their signature part. In terms of pairing, they are pretty sensitive, if I remember right, 20 ohms of impedance and something about 110 or even more decibels of sensitivity, so pretty sensitive, not too noise speaking, but of course they will be okay with smartphone, but full potential will be unveiled with some upper entry level of dubs, and I think Hidizs definitely thinks that AP80 Pro are made for them. Speaking about the comparisons, to be honest, I don't see much sense in comparing, because other models usually tuned in a bit different way. So with hybrid in-ear monitors you will have more resolution on the treble, on the mid, but usually less weight and so on. So TRN-VX, for example, more sharper, more linear, and so on. I don't know, Teen Hi-Fi T2 Plus that I reviewed recently, more detailed, with less accents on treble and bass, so more linear. Actually, you know, the closest model probably I can think of right now, it's Dunu DM 480, if I remember the index right. But 480 is more bassy, they have more weight on the low frequencies, bass is a bit more dominating here, and Dunu has a bit less treble to my ears, but not by a bigger margin. Maybe there are some other models, so just feel free to ask, but you know, almost all models in this price range will be hybrids, and in vast majority of cases the difference will be first of all in more focus on micro detalization. So if you like a bit analog, vintage sounding, if you like a warmer tuning, Hidizs released more affordable version of their MS1 that preserves pretty similar sound signature and makes them more affordable, and probably it's a really good move from their side. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.